Dentists that own their own practice, provide customer service excellence, and work with a professional SEO make the most money. Welcome to Dental SEO 101, a podcast dedicated to helping dentists retire well.
Hello, and welcome to the Dental SEO 101 podcast, episode number 10 by First Dentist. My name is Ross Dunn, and I'm the Director of SEO and co-founder of First Dentist. All right, let's jump right into some general SEO news. This particular podcast is going to have so much actionable information, you're not going to know what to do with it. But let's start off with something really soft and easy. Most of us these days have secure websites. That's when you go to a website and you see a little padlock next to it, and if you actually looked at the address, it's https://. Well, that was something that Google forced really on most of us, and it was a good idea. It really forced all of us to ensure that information being shared from site to site, all that was secure. It's a base level security, but it is important. Well, Google is, as of October 2026, going to begin warning users if anyone goes to a site that is not secure. Saw this coming at some point, but it has taken longer than expected to be rolling out. Anyways, it is coming, and I honestly barely ever see a site that's not secure anymore, so it's not really a big deal. But if you do know anyone, or perhaps you have a secondary site or something that isn't secure, keep in mind that that's going to be Google's going to actively deter people from going to them, if it even shows up in search results. Oftentimes they're definitely going to favor a secure site over a non-secure site. All right, well, let's jump into an article I created on SEOgrok.com. That's SEOgrok.com. It's a little SEO newsletter, if you want to call it that, on Substack that I've created, and it's free. You can just go check it out. And it says newsletter, but it's also a blog, so you can go to it and see all this information. It's a place I'm going to share my experiences, my learning, all of the stuff that I'm doing on a regular basis. I felt like I really was missing out by not sharing what I've been up to. Grok means to be very learned, understand something thoroughly. I'm sure Elon Musk would like to think that Grok is something he made up, but it isn't. It's older, and I've actually owned the domain longer than his business has been around. And so it's got nothing to do with the AI grok.com. This is SEO Grok. At any rate, I did an article on SEOgrok.com called How to Add AI-Generated Multimedia to Your Content in 10 Minutes. I include real prompts that work. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is a big part of what makes content really appealing to search engines, and always has, is multimodal content. So multimedia, true spirit of multimedia. You've got images, videos, perhaps streaming podcasts. Someone can just click on to press play, charts and tables, infographics. All of these different things you can embed into your content to add more value and structure and, different ways to learn what you're teaching them, teaching a viewer versus just text, which can be quite difficult to absorb. So with your practice, you could be putting in images, sanitary images of surgeries or what teeth look before and after. That's the sort of stuff you've been using to date. But you could also put in tables. Of course, it does depend on what you're writing about. I get that. But videos, infographics would be great. All the different things perhaps that an adult, what kind of surgeries or dental services a senior perhaps could get. You can make that into an infographic, and it might be a lot of things they didn't even realize. Add that to a page that's also about the same topic, and you add a lot more value. It becomes very, very powerful. Well, AI loves that as well. So I've created this little article that gives you some tips and some really, really easy shortcuts to create content using AI that will help your rankings in AI. Gotta like it. All right, next up. This has been bothering me. There is nothing but hype online right now about how staggering the changes in AI are in our world with AI and all the things it can be doing for us. And I 100% agree. There's a lot of really, really cool things about AI. But the one thing that I don't believe is that it's fundamentally changed SEO. Not yet. Search engine optimization is the optimization of pages to ensure that your content is friendly for search engines and hopefully drives a better ranking. That's my off the cuff answer. I know Wikipedia does better. But anyway, how is that any different? In this case, a lot of people are pitching GEO, that's generative engine optimization, or they're pitching AEO, answer engine optimization, and how SEO is dead. And oh, it's stupefying, honestly. But I get that they're probably selling things, or maybe they are genuinely worried and they believe that this is true. Well, I don't. I don't believe it's true. It's always going to be SEO. It's that simple. Search engine optimization is an umbrella for all the things we do to optimize content for search engines, and AI is a search engine. Agents, whatever they are, whatever medium that's being provided to engines, whatever they're going to look at has to be optimized for best effect. And we're going to continue to do that. However, there are some things that you will want to keep in mind. None of this is new, but it does have an impact on how well you perform in both Google and Google's AI overviews, and in ChatGPT, and in Perplexity, and so on and so on and so on. So let's start off with authority building. This has been a mainstay of SEO for decades. To many, this has just been link building. But really, link building is the ugly stepchild of true authority building. You're better served to build authority through earned media. That's stuff that you're not buying, but you've truly earned. Sure, links, but from reputable sources legitimately talking about you. News websites, interviews done of you, places where you've done some sponsoring, whatever it could be. Some examples here are bylines from content that you've written on trusted sites, links from various local events you put on or sponsored, podcasts you've appeared on, top dentists lists, sites that share the top dental practices in a specific area, and if you happen to be there, great. Awards you've won. All of this stuff it takes effort, granted, but it has the best effect. Google AI, doesn't matter what it is, wants to see this. And it will pay to do it, to put that effort out. Part of the reason, too, is because it takes effort, your competitors won't do it. They're going to try using all the AI shortcuts to get those benefits, and they will fall short. At least in the long run, they'll fall short. They might find an exploit or something that AI hasn't plugged yet and get somewhere at the beginning, but then that will bite them in the butt or will simply just fizzle in overnight. You just never know what's going to happen. I like to go for what works for the long run. Next up is content formatting. Now, this is a mixed bag. Let me just get into what it is. First of all, AI adores unique, well-sourced, experience-driven content. It should start with, the too long didn't read sort of a synopsis at the beginnings that it can just grab and understand about the page, understand a whole thing about the page. The body of the page, though, should be heading based with a hierarchical layout and include mixed media like we talked about. The problem is everyone's going to do this. Everyone and their dog is building all their content this way. Hey, we're doing it on our own site, and we are seeing results. Like within 2 days, we're seeing results in AI. That just shows to me how simple it is to do. It's really nothing rocket sciencey about it or anything. But I believe it's more important you write in your own voice, create content that is in a style that you want to stick with, that is relating to your patients. It's something that is you. And the reason I say this is because, again, everyone and their dog is rebuilding content and creating new content in this new format that looks very formulaic. And if it's very formulaic, at some point or another, it's going to get annoying for people to read. And it will only be useful for AI. So people will begin writing in a different way. But what if you could do both? Make it really useful for AI, but also keep some character, keep some personality in it. How I would do that, I'm still learning how to do it my own way and find my own style. But I definitely would start with a bit of a synopsis, a TLDR. As much as I don't love it, people like that these days. Everyone's out there for the quick fix, get their answer and get out. Maybe that's what they'll need. They're always going to get more value out of reading it. And that's the purpose. You want to make sure that it's got some real value. You put your expertise in. It's very important that you put your expertise in. Otherwise, if you get content that's just being created by AI without any input from you, it's grabbing content that everyone else can get as well. As a result, everything's going to be very vanilla. You need to differentiate with some great content. The next part is expertise. Now, there's the acronym EEAT, and that's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. These are all elements that Google looks at when it's trying to determine the quality of content and whether or not it has earned the right to rank, and whether or not the person who has been writing the content has these qualities. You, as a dentist, are an expert in your field. But does AI or Google really know it? Is there a page, a canonical page, a page that everything links to that talks about you, talks about your education, shares your wins, and links to your different social profiles, and they link back to you? And it's like this, essentially your internet CV. You're having this one place and ensuring that it really does a great job of documenting your expertise is very, very important. I did this recently with rossdunn.com, and it was a fair bit of work, and I'm still working on it. There's still lots to do, but you got to start somewhere. And I would say in the high 90 percentiles of people have not done this. And as a dentist, you probably never even thought of it. Why bother? You probably have a bio page and about you. Great. That can be your canonical page. That can be the place everything links to, and perhaps should be. On that page, just make sure you've got your education listed, all the different certificates, your degrees, and all those different things. All that should be there, linked to the different places where you obtained those certificates and degrees. If you have that, you're going to have one place that Google and AI can look at and confirm that you are who you say you are, that you do have these qualities, and that you should be listened to. There's a little more nuance to it when it gets down to the technical details, and we can help you with that if you'd like some assistance. But ideally, any place that you linked to from your profile links back to your profile. It's not easy to do all the time. Sometimes it's near impossible because you don't have control, like say a podcast. I can't put a link back from a podcast platform to me because I can't control what they put. But just the same, if you do it in as many places as you can, the better off you'll be. If you've got a Twitter profile or X profile, what do they want to call it now? Make sure that the website that you're linking to is your website with your about page. It goes right to the page. It doesn't go to your website homepage. It goes to that page. If it's Facebook and you have the ability to put some link in there, put that to your site. If you've got a LinkedIn profile, which I do recommend, ensure that your LinkedIn profile links to you as well. Again, to that canonical URL, that one persona, that about me page, if that's what you choose to make it. The correlation is something that cannot be ignored. It's going to pay off to do that kind of work. So that's where I am with that. One of the things that I was actually chatting with AI about this. It's funny, sometimes I just get on a bit of a chat, and we were talking about how really I find myself working harder than I ever have before now that AI is here. And really what it's done is it's given everyone superpowers. And if everyone's got superpowers, there really is no superhero. Like we're all the same. We've all got the same tools now. So yes, I can do more, but so can the next person. So now I have to make sure I do more, and I like take myself to the next level and do even more. It's really not a win. If I had AI before everyone else, that'd be different, but I didn't. That said, a lot of dental practices probably aren't taking the time to take advantage of all the levers that we currently have with AI being in our front pocket. So this is the time. Have a discussion with your marketer. Ask them what they're doing with AI, what you can do with AI. And it's very new. So they may be already planning something like we are. We've got other plans and such we're bringing to our clients slowly but surely, because we want to make sure they're proven and we've worked out the kinks. But you need to have that discussion because if you act now, you will get a certain amount of first mover benefit, I believe. Sure, it'll be level playing field when everyone gets into this later, but the fact is a lot of people won't, and a lot of people will take shortcuts. The key is to mix in hard work, and that's the non-shortcut version, with some of the shortcuts and a good plan. I'll get off my pulpit there. Very important to me. I just see too many people getting swayed by all this hype. It is not a fundamental change in anything. It's just we're doing more work. It's enhanced a lot of the signals that we use to get rankings. And many sites that have good rankings and have been properly optimized are performing perfectly well in this new AI paradigm. So just keep that in mind. As a nice kind of connection to this, I thought this was interesting. And there's lots of naysayers about this, but Geo startup, generative engine optimization startup, Lower Light shut down. And I'd never heard of it before. Many people didn't. This is why they're kind of hacking on it, going, well, I didn't hear about it. No wonder it shut down. But it shut down. And the owner said that the reason he did this, he says, I'm just not going to keep it open. I'm just going to, it didn't fail. I'm going to shut it down because I could not show a difference in how AI, like there wasn't enough of a difference. He found that the brands showing up all had familiar traits: high quality, helpful content. We've already discussed that. Mentions in authoritative publications. We've discussed that. And strong reputations and subject matter expertise, which you have as well, being a dentist, and you can apply that within your content. And we talked about ensuring you've got that canonical page and all that relevance and all that authority in one place. So again, this is a perfect example of how a startup, someone who's put, I can't even imagine how many thousands of dollars into creating a platform, has just gone, what's the point? I can't prove to people that there's enough to show here that this platform is worthwhile having, because it's just telling everyone that what you've been doing is working. I hope that gets across. I have been looking at this a little bit long today, but it is very, I think, awesome to know that everything we've been doing is right. And yeah, sure, we have to take it up a notch slightly, but it's really nothing fundamentally different. My colleague Scott, my other company, Stepforth, did an article on how to maintain rankings after a redesign. Now, this article was originally written, I think, about 15 years ago. And I mentioned to him that it was way out of date. We really needed to rewrite it. Well, it was almost, it was a very short article to begin with. It actually did pretty well. A lot of people liked it. But he says, this is so pathetically outdated. And it's ended up becoming 6,000 words or some ungodly amount with great detail and fantastic. Everything about it's fantastic. And it's immediately done well. That was the one I actually was mentioning. 2 days later, it has AI rankings. But I'll just go through some of these points. So how to maintain rankings after a redesign. If you are undergoing a site redesign, or if you're considering it, you need to listen to this. There are many things you need to consider in no particular order. First, ensure you have a backup and a recovery plan. Sometimes new sites launches, well, I can't speak. Sometimes new site launches don't go well. Ensure you are prepared for the worst. Oh my gosh. Always be prepared for the worst. Next, conduct a content audit of the current site. Map out what content on your site is ranking and performing well. These are traffics, rankings, conversions, etc. Preserve existing content. Now, again, remember the goal here is not to lose rankings during a redesign. You want to stay consistent or better, right? Any content that performs well should be preserved. Maintain the URL structure. This is really important. It doesn't have to be done. All of these, there's always an it depends, but this is kind of the ideal world, okay? So when you create the new look, just make sure the URLs are the same if you want to be in the best position. If you do have to switch it up, you need to take some other considerations in mind, and we'll get to that. So keep the URLs the same if possible. This includes, and this is very important, the usage of the triple W and the trailing slash. So if you've got a site, www.thisdentist.com, well, make sure that you continue using www. It's very important that triple W is a part of your URL. And if you remove that, it's a broken URL. And if Google tries to go to it from a link or reindexes again and expects to find it and finds a broken page, there's just so many different ways it can go badly and you can lose rankings. Create a 301 redirect map and implement it. This is a bit gobbledygooky, sorry, but essentially this is a redirect map so that if you do change your URLs, like I mentioned, again, you don't want to, but if you do, make sure you create a redirect map that says to Google and any other spider that's visiting your website or bot, this is where the address was, and this is where it is now, or it was and where it is now. Very, 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 very important. And if you had one existing on the old site and you don't want to, perhaps some of them are still very important and there was links pointing to different pages, make sure you move that over with it as well. Consolidate them, because you might lose some great authority from a link that you got from CNN.com or something that was going to a page that doesn't exist on the old site. And you want to make sure it's being redirected to the proper site and proper page now, I should say. Update internal links. If things are changing, if URLs are changing, content's changing, you may want to ensure that you will want to ensure that any links within the site are pointing to the correct pages, and any links within content where you might not be just instantly finding is being linked to their appropriate page. It's not going to a broken page. A lot of this can be fixed simply by ensuring that you do not change the URLs. Just restate that, because that makes life a lot easier. Choose an SEO-friendly CMS. That's your content management system. WordPress is a very, very, very friendly system. You do need to ensure you're on a good host with proper security, all these different things to use it, but I do recommend it. We provide hosting and security for our clients to ensure maximum uptime, quality, and frankly, peace of mind for all of us. Because whenever a site goes down for any length of time, there's always a chance it could have a negative impact on rankings. And that's the last thing we want to consider. So we make sure everything is dialed in and rock solid. You need to ensure that. Use of existing titles and meta description. So for pages that perform well, make sure to reuse the same titles and descriptions. For those that don't, now is the time to improve what you have. Go for it. You can do some changes. And again, that's something you should keep in mind throughout all of this. Earlier on here, I said that you should create a list of the content that you have, what's performing well, what isn't. The stuff that's performing well, you want to touch as little as possible. The look of the page can change with this new redesign, but try to change not a single word, at least initially. Google will look at a new site and go, oh, what's going on? Who's this? Do I trust this? They're going to perhaps take a step back, no matter what you do, and you'll see rankings plummet up a little bit. But then they generally are restored once it goes, okay, this isn't a new company. This isn't someone hacking the site. I'm still going to be providing a great result and a great experience for my users when I send them to this website. That's what they want to be sure of. So we'll restore. Structured data. This gets a little more complicated, but there is structured data that's generally in a website. It may have been in your older website, and you want to maintain that into the new website. Structured data is behind the scenes. It's in the code, and it does have some impact. And we like to maintain every single thing we possibly can when a redesign is happening and we need to maintain rankings. The more that changes, the more uncertainty there is that rankings will be maintained. So move over the structured markup. That can be schema markup is another one they use, or schema, I should say, is the other term for it. But make sure that it is there. And if it's not there, now's the time to add it. It's a great time to add it. And there are some great tools out there that'll help you do it. It is generally more something that you would want an SEO to help you with, or spend the time to do a bunch of reading. I mean, none of this is rocket science. It's just, it does take time and expertise to implement and know you're doing it right. Improve your page speed. This is the one thing you can do when you're doing a redesign on even the pages that were performing well, if you improve their page speed, there's no downside. It's just going to be better. Will it improve your ranking? Maybe not. But in the very least, that is one thing you can change and not be fearful that it's going to have a negative impact. When you launch your new website, unblock it, please. What do I mean? Well, WordPress is a great example. When you launch a new website, sometimes it's got sort of a switch in place that says block this to search engines while we're doing while we're doing our work on it. And it's not uncommon for development sites to have that switch turned on because they don't want Google, if it happens to somehow find the development site, to index it and add it to the content that's online. It'll be bad. But we've seen countless times people launch these sites and they forget to disable that. And it doesn't matter what you've done. All of this work could have been meticulous. But if you find that your whole website is being blocked to Google, well, that's it. That's the kiss of death. Unless you catch it within a day or two, there are some pretty fundamental damages you're going to see on your rankings. So make sure you do unblock it. After that, monitor your performance. Make sure you have a Google Search Console in place, like access to that, Google Analytics, or whatever analytics platform you choose to use. I'm not too fond of Google Analytics these days, so I do recommend checking other ones out. But whatever you have, make sure you monitor it and look for changes, look for anything that's happening and flags that you need to jump on. Google Search Console will be particularly useful because it does give you warnings. It is more designed as a diagnostic platform. So that's it. There's a lot I shared today. I hope you found it really, really helpful. So on behalf of myself, Ross Dunn, Director of SEO and co-founder of First Dentist, thank you for joining me today. Have a great week, and remember to tune into the next episode where we'll be sharing more 101 SEO tips and news on dental SEO.